Imagine a point in your life where everything feels stagnant. Your purpose is clouded by distraction, your motivation eroded by laziness, and your potential buried under layers of doubt. At some point, we all reach a crossroads where the life we're living no longer reflects the life we know we're capable of. It's as if the weight of unfulfilled potential clings to us, dragging us further from the person we aspire to be. And yet there is another path, one where discipline, resilience, and purpose transform not just your mindset, but the very fabric of your life. This is your winter arc, the moment where the cold winds of challenge demand that you toughen, sharpen, and grow. Change, however, isn't something that happens overnight. It begins with resilience, with the ability to weather the storms of life without being blown off course. This is where the timeless wisdom of Stoicism steps in. Stoic principles practiced by the likes of Marcus Aurelius and Seneca offer us a blueprint for cultivating inner strength. They remind us that control lies not in external events, but in how we choose to react to them. In life, hardship is inevitable, but through Stoic resilience, we learn to bend without breaking, to see obstacles not as roadblocks, but as opportunities for growth. Next comes the journey of solitude, the path of the loner. There's a power in embracing your own company, a power that famous philosophers have long understood. True self-discovery isn't found in the noise of the crowd, but in the silence of introspection. Being alone allows you to confront your rawest thoughts, to untangle your mind from societal expectations, and to emerge with a clearer understanding of who you are and what you truly want. Solitude isn't loneliness. It's a wellspring of clarity, a space where you can cultivate resilience and begin to align your life with your own values rather than those imposed on you by others. But it's not enough to understand your values. You must act on them. This is where the philosophy of Ikigai comes into play. Ikigai, the Japanese concept of purpose, offers a compass for aligning what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what can sustain you. When you find your Ikigai, you stop being lazy because your actions are driven by passion and purpose. Laziness isn't a lack of energy. It's a lack of alignment. When you wake up every day knowing why you're doing what you're doing, every moment feels like a step towards something greater, and every task, no matter how small, becomes meaningful. Lastly, there's the question of maturity, the transition from a state of complacency to one of action and responsibility. Many young men, and indeed many adults, remain trapped in a state of prolonged adolescence, where comfort is mistaken for fulfillment. But growth demands discomfort. It demands that you face the realities of life head on, shed the skin of childhood, and step fully into adulthood with purpose and conviction. This is your winter arc, the time to endure, reflect, and rebuild. The process will not be easy, but nothing worth having ever is. In the coming months, you will be tested, but if you take these lessons to heart, 2025 will be the year you stop merely existing and begin to live with intention, a year where you completely change your life. Picture a seasoned sailor on turbulent waters, navigating through the raging storm with an unfazed demeanor, calmly adjusting the sails. That sailor isn't devoid of fear. Rather, he has developed a certain resilience and innate ability to dance with the tempest. This vision symbolizes our lives filled with uncertainties, crises, and stormy days. Yet just as the sailor remains steadfast, you too have the capacity to cultivate an unwavering spirit, rooted in resilience. Resilience, as its Latin origin suggests, means to jump back or rebound. It is the ability to bounce back from setbacks, adapt well to change, and keep going in the face of adversity. It's the metaphorical anchor that keeps the sailor steady amidst the storm. For some, resilience seems innate, as if they were born with a natural ability to withstand life's tumultuous tides. For others, it appears to be a learned craft, meticulously honed over years of experience. Yet, regardless of its origin, one cannot understate its value in a rapidly changing world marked by chaos and unpredictability. Resilience is not just beneficial, it's vital. It's the dividing line between those who crumble under pressure and those who rise above it. But how does one cultivate this profound quality? Can the principles of ancient philosophy, seemingly distant and unrelated to our modern lives, guide us in developing unwavering resilience? Enter Stoicism, an ancient philosophy for a modern problem. Stoicism, birthed in the vibrant forums of ancient Greece and nurtured in the corridors of Roman power, is more than just a philosophy. It's a way of life rooted deeply in understanding the human condition. Stoicism teaches acceptance of things we can't change and focuses on improving what we can control: our actions, beliefs, and feelings. Stoicism is often misconceived as a teaching of emotional suppression, a school for the heart. In reality, it advocates for a better understanding of our emotions, directing them in ways that are in alignment with reason and virtue. Think of it not as the absence of emotion, but as emotional intelligence in its highest form. To the Stoics, every challenge presents an opportunity to practice virtue. Every setback is a lesson in wisdom, and every joy is to be enjoyed, but not overly attached to. They understood, perhaps more deeply than many of us today, the transient nature of existence and the futility of resisting the inevitable. If resilience is the anchor, Stoicism is the craft of forging it. The very principles Stoicism embodies, acceptance, understanding, emotional detachment, and the pursuit of virtue, are the bedrock of resilience. In a world of fleeting pleasures and mounting challenges, Stoicism serves as a compass. It steers us away from the superficial and directs us towards the profound. Where others see calamity, a Stoic sees an opportunity for growth. When faced with adversity, a Stoic doesn't ask, "Why me?" but rather, "What lesson is life teaching me?" The Stoic approach to life's trials and tribulations isn't about enduring in silent misery, but rather navigating through them with grace, wisdom, and inner peace. It's about understanding that while we cannot control the storms of life, we can control our reactions to them. Modern society is flooded with self-help books, motivational speakers, and life coaches offering a plethora of strategies to build mental strength. While many are undoubtedly valuable, few have stood the test of time as Stoicism has for over 2 millennia. Its enduring relevance underscores its profound insights into human nature and the art of living. The teachings of this profound philosophy remind us of the impermanence of life, urging us to focus on what truly matters: our character, our actions, and our legacy. Imagine harnessing the power of Stoic wisdom to cultivate resilience. Picture yourself facing life's fiercest storms with a tranquil mind, seeing obstacles not as impediments, but as opportunities to grow stronger. As we delve deeper into the Stoic principles in this journey, you'll unearth the tools to construct an indomitable spirit fortified by wisdom and powered by virtue. So are you ready to navigate the tumultuous waters of life with the steady hand of a seasoned sailor? The voyage into the heart of Stoic resilience begins now. let's go beneath the surface and unearth the core elements of this invaluable attribute, without which even the most seasoned sailor is but a ship lost at sea. Resilience is often likened to a sort of emotional elasticity, the ability to snap back to form after being stretched, twisted, or bent by life's challenges. But such an analogy might be limiting because it implies a return to an original state. True resilience is not just about bouncing back, it's about bouncing forward. It's about integrating the experience into your life, transforming adversity into a catalyst for growth. You don't revert to your original shape, you take a new form more robust and more intricate than before. In our hyper-connected, always-on world, the cacophony of life's demands can be overwhelming. Social pressures, professional challenges, personal struggles, the modern landscape often feels like a maze with hurdles at every turn. Add to this the complexities of global issues like pandemics, social unrest, and climate change, and you'll find that resilience is no longer just an admirable trait. It's a necessity. It's the psychological armor that protects us, the emotional intelligence that guides us, and the spiritual wisdom that sustains us. From a psychological perspective, resilience isn't merely the absence of mental health symptoms or disorders. It's the presence of positive traits and coping mechanisms. Psychologists have identified several key components of resilience, including self-awareness, self-regulation, optimism, mental agility, and strong social connections. Studies have even shown that these traits can be developed and enhanced through targeted interventions, defying the notion that resilience is purely an innate trait you either have or don't have. When you turn to philosophy, you find an enriching array of perspectives on resilience. While we are focusing on Stoicism in this discussion, it's worth noting that many philosophical traditions offer wisdom on cultivating resilience. Eastern philosophies like Buddhism teach the concept of non-attachment, which resonates strongly with the Stoic ideal of emotional detachment. Existentialism, on the other hand, presents life's absurdities and hardships as prerequisites for authentic living. These philosophies, in their unique ways, contribute to a holistic understanding of resilience. The narratives of resilience are woven into the tapestry of human history. Take, for instance, Nelson Mandela, who emerged from 27 years of imprisonment with an unbroken spirit and a vision for a united South Africa. His resilience transformed not just his life, but the fate of a nation. Or let's go back a bit further in time to the Roman philosopher king Marcus Aurelius, who governed an empire in turmoil while penning his meditations, which stand as a testimony to resilience and Stoic philosophy. He faced wars, plagues, and political betrayal, yet his writings reflect an indomitable spirit committed to virtue and wisdom. Finally, let's not overlook everyday resilience, the single parent juggling multiple jobs to provide for their family, the cancer survivor who turns their journey into an advocacy for healthcare, or even the college student overcoming failure to excel in their studies. These are the unsung heroes, the quiet testament to the power and ubiquity of resilience. As we delve into the Stoic principles that follow, you'll notice that each one provides a unique lens to understand and cultivate resilience. Whether you're steering a nation, leading a household, or charting the course of your personal development, these principles offer a robust framework to navigate the complexities of modern life. They give us the tools to not just endure the storm, but to master it, to turn trials into triumphs, and to transform adversity into advantage. As we progress through each Stoic principle in the subsequent sections, these foundational insights into resilience will serve as our guide, enriching our journey towards mental strength and emotional equanimity. The first Stoic principle we'll explore is the foundational concept of discerning what is within your control from what is not. If you've ever caught yourself tangled in worry about the economy, the political landscape, or even other people's opinions of you, this principle can serve as your liberating compass. The Stoic philosophers, notably Epictetus, emphasized the profound but simple idea that our lives are primarily affected not by what happens to us, but by how we respond to what happens to us. Imagine your life as a canvas. While you don't get to choose all the colors, some are handed to you by fate, you do have the paintbrush in your hand. You are the artist of your composition. The Stoics argued that our internal responses, our judgments, choices, and actions are solely ours to govern. This idea could be one of the most liberating concepts you'll ever come across. When you truly grasp this, you unload an enormous burden of unnecessary stress and anxiety. You free yourself from the enslaving chains of external events and opinions. You become, in a very real sense, the master of your own life. Stoicism teaches what's often called the dichotomy of control. Simply put, some things are up to us and others are not. Things like our opinions, desires, aversions, and actions are within our control because they are subject to our direct influence. External events, the weather, the stock market, other people's behavior, reside outside our realm of control. Here are some practical tips to differentiate between what's within your control and what's not. Ask the right questions. Whenever you find yourself anxious or upset, ask yourself, is this something I can control? If yes, focus your energy there. If not, then in practice, letting go. Reality. Testing. Before investing the emotional energy into something, test its controllability. Try to influence it. If you find that you can't, it probably lies outside your control. The so what technique. When fretting about something, ask yourself, so what if this happens? Often you'll realize that even if the undesirable occurs, it's not the end of the world, freeing you to focus on how you will respond. Be mindful. Practicing mindfulness can improve your awareness of your thoughts and feelings, helping you catch yourself before you become emotionally entangled with things outside your control. Now, it's time to put this concept into practice. Take a piece of paper or open a note on your device and draw two columns. Label one as within my control and the other as outside my control. Take a moment to think about the various aspects of your life, your career, relationships, health, and even your dreams and fears. Start populating each column with things that fall under them. For example, you can control your work ethic, but you can't control job market conditions. You can control how loving and understanding you are in a relationship, but you can't control how someone feels about you. This exercise is an eye-opener. It's like unloading the heavy rocks from your backpack during a hike, making your journey through life that much easier and more enjoyable. So the next time you find yourself fretting over a negative review at work or worrying about a future event, return to this first principle of Stoicism. Ask yourself what you can control. Focus your energy there and let go of the rest. This simple act can be a game changer, unshackling you from unnecessary burdens and gifting you the freedom to engage with life more fully and authentically. Understanding what is within your control is more than a Stoic principle. It's a transformative life skill. It's your first step towards genuine resilience and enduring mental strength. As we continue our philosophical expedition, the next port of call is the Stoic principle of cultivating apathy or emotional detachment. Now, if the word apathy immediately sets off alarms in your head, conjuring images of emotionless robots or cold-hearted individuals, let's set the record straight right away. In the Stoic lexicon, apathy doesn't mean the absence of emotion, but rather signifies a disciplined management of emotional responses. It teaches us to prevent our feelings from holding us hostage and clouding our judgment. Stoicism argues that our emotions are largely the products of our judgments and beliefs. Change the judgment, and the emotion changes along with it. For example, if someone cuts you off in traffic and your immediate judgment is that they've disrespected you, you'll likely feel angry. But if your judgment shifts to a belief that they might be rushing to the hospital or didn't even see you, the emotional grip loosens. Emotional detachment in the Stoic sense means giving yourself the gift of perspective, offering a mental buffer that allows you to think clearly and act wisely, even in the heat of the moment. The utility of emotional detachment in real-world scenarios. Consider the case of professional athletes who miss a critical shot or lose an important match. Rather than wallowing in self-pity or letting anger hijack their performance, they deploy emotional detachment to learn from their mistakes and prepare for the next opportunity. Their resilience, evident in their ability to bounce back, is fortified by their stoic emotional detachment. Or take a look at first responders like firefighters or medical professionals in high-stakes situations where lives hang in the balance. These individuals practice a form of emotional detachment that allows them to think and act quickly without being paralyzed by their feelings. We can even see this principle applied in the corporate world. Good leaders often have to make tough, unpopular decisions. Emotional detachment allows them to weigh the pros and cons dispassionately and opt for the choice that, although difficult, serves the greater good. Now let's transform this intellectual understanding into a living practice. We'll do a brief guided meditation exercise, but if you prefer journaling, you can adapt it accordingly. Meditation. Close your eyes and take a few deep breaths to center yourself. Imagine a scenario where you usually get emotionally triggered. It could be a confrontational conversation, a stressful work situation, or even hearing a piece of news that usually upsets you. Visualize yourself in that scenario, but picture a transparent shield around you. This shield represents your newfound stoic detachment. As the triggering event unfolds, imagine your emotions hitting the shield and dissipating. They can't touch you. You observe them, but don't engage. Take a moment to experience this detachment, the freedom it brings, and the clarity it offers. When you're ready, open your eyes and take a few more deep breaths. Journaling. Write down a recent event that triggered a strong emotional response in you. Describe in detail what judgments or beliefs fueled these emotions. Now, reframe these judgments or beliefs in a way that loosens the emotional grip. Write down how this new perspective changes your emotional response and how you would act differently in a similar future scenario. By mastering the stoic art of emotional detachment, you arm yourself with an invaluable tool for resilience. This isn't about muting your emotional life, but about harmonizing it. It's like tuning an instrument. You still play the music, but the notes are clearer, more precise, and much more in control. Cultivating apathy or emotional detachment in the Stoic sense is not about calcifying emotions, but refining them. It allows us to engage with life not as slaves to our feelings, but as masters of them. A life ruled by unexamined emotions is a ship tossed aimlessly by the sea, But with the Stoic compass of emotional detachment, we find our bearings and set a course that aligns with our deepest values and highest aspirations. Our next anchoring point in the Stoic Odyssey is the paramount importance of virtue and inner character. This principle is quite divergent from many modern societal norms that often prioritize external achievements like wealth status or physical beauty. Let's unfold this idea and see how it becomes an indispensable pillar for constructing an edifice of mental resilience. In Stoic philosophy, virtues like wisdom, courage, justice, and self-discipline are considered the highest goods. They are not just abstract moralistic ideals, they are pragmatic tools for living a well-tempered life. Stoics believe that the cultivation of these virtues is the path to eudaimonia, often translated as flourishing or blessedness. In a way, they provide a moral compass, a way to navigate life's complexities. Think about it. If your primary focus is on developing inner virtues, your self-worth is far less susceptible to the volatile winds of external circumstances. You're not perturbed by market downturn shifts in social opinion or even personal losses to the same extent that someone would be whose sense of value is tied to these external variables. The commitment to personal virtue and inner character acts as a psychological fortress. Why? Because while the world around you is in constant flux, your virtues can be steadfast. No one can take away your integrity, your compassion, or your wisdom. They are yours, and they are unassailable. Let's consider a practical example. Imagine you're a salesperson and your value is tied solely to meeting quotas or outperforming colleagues. What happens when the economy tanks or when a new sales strategy fails? Your self-esteem crumbles. However, if you prioritize virtues such as diligence, integrity, and good service, a bad month doesn't devastate you. You have the resilience to adapt, learn, and persist. Another example can be found in the realms of academia or the arts. Those who tie their entire identity to awards, recognitions, or the praise of others often find themselves in an emotional roller coaster. On the flip side, valuing virtues like creativity, dedication, and the pursuit of truth or beauty makes you resilient against the tide of public opinion or the judgment of critics. Moreover, focusing on internal virtues realigns your motivation. You're not striving for a virtuous life because it's a ticket to external rewards. You strive for it because it is the reward. And this self-sustaining cycle of motivation only adds to your mental resilience, making you not only less susceptible to life's slings and arrows, but also giving you a continuous source of fuel to overcome them. Now let's make this principle actionable with a simple exercise. Take out your journal or open a note-taking app and list down the 4 cardinal Stoic virtues: wisdom, courage, justice, temperance. Next, think about your life experiences in the past month. Write down instances where you exhibited these virtues, no matter how small. Also, jot down opportunities where you could have shown these virtues but missed out. This dual approach serves 2 purposes. It reinforces the positive behavior while gently reminding you of areas for growth. Finally, set some achievable goals to focus on these virtues in the month ahead. Think of them as your personal KPIs, key performance indicators, except they measure the quality of your character rather than external achievements. While the world often urges you to seek happiness in external possessions or social validation, Stoicism invites you to find it in the sanctuary of your inner world. And in doing so, you build a citadel of resilience that no external force can easily breach. The principle of valuing virtue forms the heart and soul of Stoic philosophy and is key to developing unparalleled mental resilience. By turning your focus inwards on attributes entirely within your control, you construct a reliable, robust core that holds steadfast even when the world around you is in disarray. It's not an exaggeration to say that for a Stoic, virtue isn't just its own reward. It's the cornerstone of a resilient, flourishing life. As we continue our exploration of Stoic principles that cultivate mental strength, we arrive at an idea that can both sober and liberate us: the acceptance of impermanence. While this concept may appear somber, Stoicism uses it not as a grim reminder, but as a liberating truth, one that adds value to our existence and makes us resilient in the face of life's inevitable changes. The Stoic embrace of impermanence. One of the most salient features of Stoicism is its willingness to engage with life as it is, not as we wish it to be. And life in its purest essence is a dance of constant change. Nothing remains static, be it good or bad. Understanding this transitory nature allows us to navigate life's ups and downs with a degree of equanimity. Impermanence is not a concept limited to Stoicism, of course. It's an idea that resonates through various philosophies and religions, from Buddhism to existentialism. But Stoicism takes a pragmatic approach, encouraging us to use this understanding as a tool for resilience. If you know things are bound to change, you are better prepared to deal with adversity when it comes knocking. Conversely, this awareness also prevents us from becoming overly attached to fleeting joys, helping to mitigate the inevitable suffering that comes from loss or change. One of the most stirring quotes that touch upon this concept comes from Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor. In his Meditations, he writes, "Time is like a river made up of the events which happen, and a violent stream. For as soon as a thing has been seen, it is carried away, and another comes in its place, and this will be carried away too." This quote encapsulates the Stoic view of life's fleeting nature, likening it to a river, where each moment is quickly succeeded by the next. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that both our joys and sorrows are temporary, urging us to adopt the balanced attitude that helps us deal with life's unpredictable occurrences. Imagine the resilience of someone who understands the impermanence of their struggles, who can see beyond the immediate pain or challenge and grasp its temporary nature. This individual is not easily fazed by setbacks because they understand that just as good times don't last, neither do the bad ones. Take, for instance, people who have lost their jobs only to find a greater calling in the emptiness that follows. Or think about relationships that end, making room for self-growth, or new partnerships that bring more joy and fulfillment. Even in the most distressing scenarios, like dealing with illness or the loss of a loved one, accepting impermanence can offer a form of solace, reminding us that our grief, too, shall pass, and with time, healing becomes possible. To embed this Stoic wisdom into your own life, let's engage in a reflective exercise. This can be done through journaling or meditative contemplation, whichever suits you best. List 3 things or experiences that brought you immense joy or happiness. Reflect on their transitory nature. How did you feel when they were over? How did you cope? List 3 challenges or hardships you faced. Reflect on how they changed or evolved over time. Were you able to see their impermanence while you were going through them? Lastly, imagine your life 1 year from now. What are some things that are essential to you today that may change? How does thinking about their impermanence make you feel? Does it empower you to appreciate them more, or perhaps to not cling to them too tightly? The Stoic principle of accepting impermanence offers us a lens through which we can view the world as it is forever changing. In doing so, it equips us with the mental tools to face life's inevitable ups and downs, making us stronger and more resilient in the process. Embracing the concept of impermanence is like mastering the art of surfing on the waves of change. Each wave has its rise and fall, its own dangers and thrills, but the adept surfer rides them all with the same composed skill, adapting to each one's unique nature. Through the Stoic lens, accepting life's impermanent nature allows us to become skilled surfers capable of riding high on the waves of joy and skillfully navigating the lows of adversity, all while maintaining our inner equilibrium. In our ongoing journey through Stoic principles that cultivate mental fortitude, we arrive at an especially potent idea, the practice of objective representation. This principle invites us to see the world through a lens devoid of personal biases, interpretations, or emotional charges. At first glance, it might seem like a formidable task, but as we'll explore, it's a pathway to unparalleled resilience and a richly rewarding life. The Stoics believed that many of our troubles stem not from events themselves, but from our judgments about those events. Epictetus famously said, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the view which they take of them." And he was on to something that modern psychology also emphasizes: our thoughts shape our emotional state. Objective representation is a way to adjust the lens through which we perceive reality. It's about peeling away the layers of subjective interpretation to see the bare facts. Let's say you lost your job. The objective fact is that you're now unemployed, which has certain financial and logistical implications. However, labeling this event as disastrous, humiliating, or unfair adds a subjective weight that can lead to emotional suffering and paralysis. Seeing things objectively can have a profound impact on your ability to cope with life's challenges. Consider a relationship breakup. Viewed through a subjective lens, it could be a catastrophe, a blow to your self-esteem, or an emotional death sentence. But viewed objectively, it's a change in your relationship status, indicating that the partnership was not beneficial for one or both parties. This objective framing allows you to analyze the situation rationally, learn from it, and even find opportunities for personal growth or a better relationship down the line. Another example is criticism. If your boss or a friend criticizes you, it's easy to feel attacked or demeaned. However, through the lens of objective representation, you can see this feedback simply as data information that can help you improve. Once you detach your emotions from the criticism, it becomes a tool for growth rather than a weapon that wounds your self-esteem. Practical tips for objective representation. Pause before you react. When confronted with a situation that triggers strong emotions, take a moment to breathe and distance yourself from your initial reactions. This small pause can provide the necessary gap to introduce objectivity. Ask questions. Interrogate your own thoughts. Is this an objective fact, or is it an interpretation? Are you adding emotional flavor to the situation? Questioning helps you separate facts from assumptions. Use third-person language. Sometimes rephrasing the situation as if it's happening to someone else can offer an objective perspective. Instead of saying, "Why did this happen to me?" ask, "What happened and what are its implications?" Consult trusted friends. Sometimes our biases are so ingrained that we can't see beyond them. A trusted, impartial friend can help you see the objective reality you might be overlooking. As a hands-on exercise to develop this skill, I'd encourage you to keep a Stoic journal. Every evening, write down situations where you felt strong emotions, anger, sadness, overwhelming joy, and dissect those situations objectively. Strip away the emotional language and see what you're left with. This act alone can be incredibly liberating and eye-opening. Objective representation is a Stoic scalpel for cutting away the excess tissue of subjective interpretations, leaving behind the clean wound of reality that can heal more effectively. By developing the habit of seeing life's events as they truly are, you not only become more resilient, but also unlock a deeper understanding of the world and yourself. In embracing objective representation, you arm yourself with one of the most potent psychological tools available to mankind. You create a mental stronghold that is hard to assail. It provides a form of mental agility that allows you to duck under the swinging mace of emotional triggers and parry the stabbing sword of negative self-talk. By seeing the world as it is, not as you fear or wish it to be, you gain a stoic calm that can withstand even the harshest storms life may brew. Now, we delve into a principle that binds these teachings into a tangible action plan, the concept of willful endurance. This isn't just about surviving hardships. It's about embracing them as classrooms for character development and personal growth. The Stoics didn't shy away from the world's difficulties. Rather, they greeted them as opportunities to apply their philosophy and grow stronger. Challenges, according to Stoicism, aren't just inevitable. They are necessary for the expansion of the soul. Seneca writes, "Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body." Willful endurance is not passive resignation, but an active embracing of what is happening. It's standing in the eye of the storm and saying, "Teach me." This act of voluntary acceptance transforms mere survival into a sort of alchemy where base hardships can be transmuted into golden lessons. Remember that challenges aren't specific to certain people. They're a universal feature of human life. What differentiates us is not whether we encounter difficulties, but how we approach them. A quick glance through history or even your immediate social circle will show how enduring adversity, especially when embraced willfully, can serve as a turning point in people's lives. Consider figures like Nelson Mandela, who endured 27 years in prison and emerged not with vengeance, but with a vision for unity and reconciliation. His imprisonment wasn't just time served. It was a period of intense intellectual and spiritual growth. Another example could be of J.K. Rowling, who faced numerous rejections and personal struggles, including depression before publishing her Harry Potter series. Her story is not just one of eventual success, but of the growth and refinement that came through her challenges. To cultivate willful endurance, redefine your relationship with challenges. Instead of seeing them as problems, regard them as opportunities. Change the narrative from "Why is this happening to me?" to "What can this teach me?" Develop a stoic ritual. Whenever you face a challenging situation, take a few deep breaths and remind yourself of stoic principles. You can even have a favorite stoic quote handy as a touchstone to center your thoughts. Practice perspective shifting. In the middle of a difficulty, take a moment to think of a last challenge that you successfully navigated. This temporal shift can often lessen the emotional charge and allow you to apply willful endurance more effectively. Learn to pivot. Part of enduring willfully is recognizing when to change course. Sometimes resilience involves adaptation, and the willingness to pivot can be a result of an open, enduring mindset. The Stoic principle of willful endurance imbues us with a sort of philosophical resilience that goes beyond mere coping mechanisms. It empowers us to see difficulties as fertile ground for inner growth and transformation. We cease to be victims of circumstance and become students of life, ever eager to learn, adapt, and thrive. When you engage with life through the lens of willful endurance, each challenge becomes a sculptor's chisel, striking away at the marble that encases your inner potential. The blows may seem harsh, and at times you may feel close to breaking, but it's through such experiences that the most beautiful and enduring works of art be it a sculpted stone or a resilient human spirit, are crafted. We've journeyed through various Stoic principles that can fortify our individual souls, leading us to become more resilient beings. However, Stoicism is not merely a personal toolkit for mental toughness. Its wisdom extends beyond the boundaries of the self-fostering and ethic of community and universal interconnectedness. It is this community-focused dimension that we'll explore in our final principle, community and universal brotherhood. Stoicism teaches us to look at life from the vantage point of the cosmic city, the universal community. The philosopher Marcus Aurelius himself, a Roman emperor, wrote in his Meditations, "We were born to work together like feet, hands, and eyes, like the two rows of teeth, upper and lower. To obstruct each other is unnatural. To feel anger at someone, to turn your back on him, these are obstructions." The Stoic tenet of interconnectedness is an extension of their emphasis on rationality and virtue. Just as you work to cultivate virtue within yourself, you're also ethically bound to contribute to the virtue and well-being of your broader community. While Stoicism promotes individual resilience through self-control, emotional management, and rational thinking, it also asserts that our individual well-being is intrinsically tied to the well-being of others. Our own resilience is therefore multiplied when extended to a collective ethos. If you can help your community navigate through hardship, the community in turn can offer a network of support resources and collective wisdom when you encounter personal challenges. This does not mean that you should rely solely on external support, but rather it suggests a form of resilience that's both internal and external. A resilient community can act as a safety net, and its shared values can be a pillar to lean on during times when even the most stoic individual might waver. Let's look at the examples of great leaders like Mahatma Gandhi or Martin Luther King Jr., who were deeply embedded in their communities. Their personal resilience wasn't just for their own benefit, but served as a lighthouse for entire social movements. Or consider the people in your life who make your existence richer and more meaningful, your close friends, mentors, or even social circles online. Their encouragement, validation, and advice fortify your own mental reserves. How to cultivate community-centric resilience. Engage in mutual aid, from simple gestures like helping a neighbor with groceries to more structured activities like volunteering. Acts of mutual aid bolster community resilience and, by extension, your own. Empathetic listening. Practicing Stoic principles like emotional detachment doesn't mean turning a blind eye to others' emotions. Active empathetic listening helps build strong relationships. Shared philosophical grounding. Establishing a Stoic circle or philosophy discussion group in your community can serve as a supportive environment for mutual growth and resilience building. Take a leadership role. Leadership isn't about bossing people around. It's about cultivating a healthy community ethos and making collective decisions for the betterment of everyone involved. This notion of community and universal brotherhood serves as a linchpin that unifies the Stoic philosophy into an inclusive whole. Your resilience, while initiated and nurtured at an individual level, finds its ultimate expression in a collective resilience that uplifts not just you, but also those around you. In the words of Seneca, "We are all chained to fortune. The chain of one is made of gold and wide, while that of another is short and rusty. But what difference does it make? The same prison surrounds all of us, and even those who have bound others are bound themselves. And it's within this universal prison that we find our commonality, our brotherhood. Understanding that we're all participants in the grand human drama can make us more resilient players, ready not just to act our parts well, but to elevate the entire performance." So let your Stoic principles serve as guideposts on your personal path, but also let them light the way for others, illuminating a trail that leads us all toward a more resilient, rational, and compassionate world. In the realm of constant connectivity and endless social interaction, the concept of solitude often carries an air of mystery and apprehension. Yet it is in these quiet moments of seclusion that some of the most profound insights into self-improvement and personal growth are found. This exploration delves deep into the heart of solitude, not as a mere absence of company, but as a rich, introspective journey, guided by the wisdom of history's greatest minds. In philosophy and psychology, solitude, a state often misinterpreted as loneliness or isolation, holds a profound potential for self-discovery. Away from the distractions and influences of a bustling world, it offers a unique clarity and a mirror reflecting our deepest selves. This journey is not one of desolation, but a pathway to understanding peace and inner strength. Throughout history, solitude has been a choice of the wise and the insightful. Philosophers and psychologists, in their quest for understanding, often turned away from the noise of society to listen to the quieter voices within. These moments of solitude were not escapes, but deep dives into the very essence of human existence, leading to groundbreaking ideas and theories that have shaped our understanding of the human psyche. This exploration is not just about solitude as an abstract concept, but as a lived experience. Through the perspectives of renowned thinkers, we traverse the psychological landscapes of Carl Jung, who sought understanding in the shadowed corners of the human mind. We walk alongside Friedrich Nietzsche, who found in solitude the strength for self-ownership and individualism. We also step into the stoic tranquility of Marcus Aurelius, where solitude becomes a space for reflection and maintaining inner harmony. The existential perspectives of Albert Camus and Rollo may shed light on how solitude can be a battleground for confronting life's inherent absurdities and personal anxieties. In our modern world, where solitude is often drowned out by the constant buzz of technology, rediscovering its value is more important than ever. It's in these moments of silence and separation from the digital chatter that we can truly hear our own voice and tap into a deeper sense of self. This journey through the insights of famous philosophers and psychologists aims to redefine solitude. It is an exploration of how solitary experiences, far from being a state of loneliness, can be transformative, empowering, and enlightening. By understanding and embracing the lessons from these solitary wanderers, we open the door to a world of self-reflection, peace, and profound personal growth. As we embark on this exploration, we invite you to reconsider the role of solitude in your own life. Whether you find solace in your moments alone or face them with apprehension, there is wisdom to be gleaned from those who have walked this path before. Let's uncover the hidden lessons of solitude and, in doing so, perhaps discover unexplored aspects of ourselves. Your visions will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside dreams? Who looks inside awakes. Carl Gustav Jung. Carl Gustav Jung, a Swiss psychiatrist and psychoanalyst, introduced the world to profound concepts that revolutionized the understanding of the human psyche. His teachings provide a valuable framework for our exploration of solitude as a tool for self-improvement and personal growth. Jung's fascination with the human mind led him to the depths of the unconscious, a realm he believed held the key to understanding our innermost selves. Unlike his contemporary Sigmund Freud, who viewed the unconscious primarily as a storehouse of repressed desires and unfulfilled wishes, Jung saw it as a rich tapestry of symbols, archetypes, and collective memories. He argued that our conscious minds are just the tip of an iceberg, with a vast majority of our psyche residing in this unseen, unexplored underwater portion. The concept of the shadow stands out in his work. He described the shadow as the darker, often neglected part of our personality, consisting of repressed weaknesses, instincts, and desires. Everyone possesses this shadow side, and it is only by acknowledging and confronting it that one can achieve wholeness. This confrontation is not about eradicating the shadow, but about integrating it. He believed that by facing our darker aspects, we could learn from them and, in doing so, embark on a journey towards self-realization. For Jung, solitude was not a mere withdrawal from the world, but an opportunity to engage in a deep and meaningful dialogue with oneself. In the silence away from societal expectations and distractions, we can hear the whispers of our unconscious mind beckoning us to explore and understand the mysteries locked within. Solitude provides the perfect setting for this exploration, offering a space where the conscious and unconscious can meet, interact, and reconcile. This process of introspection and self-analysis, however, is not without its challenges. It requires courage to face the aspects of ourselves we have long ignored or hidden away. It involves sifting through memories, emotions, and thoughts, some of which may be uncomfortable or even painful. But as Jung famously said, your visions will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside dreams? Who looks inside awakes? This awakening is the ultimate reward of the solitary journey inward, a clearer, more profound understanding of who we are and what drives us. Jung's methodology for integrating the shadow involves acknowledging its existence and then understanding its nature. This process, known as shadow work, can be facilitated by various techniques such as dream analysis, active imagination, and personal reflection. By engaging in these practices, especially in moments of solitude, we can begin to unravel the complexities of our shadow selves. The integration of the shadow is a crucial step toward achieving what Jung termed individuation, the process of becoming an individual, a unified whole. This is not a journey towards perfection, but towards completeness. It involves recognizing and accepting all aspects of oneself, both good and bad, light and dark. Solitude in this context serves as a nurturing ground for this integration, providing the time and space necessary for deep self-reflection and personal growth. Jung's approach to solitude as a transformative experience aligns with his broader views on personal development. He believed that within each individual lies the potential for profound change and growth. Solitude acts as a catalyst for this transformation, allowing us to dive into the depths of our being and emerge with a greater sense of self-awareness and understanding. The key lesson from his teachings is the importance of embracing solitude not as a retreat from the world, but as an active engagement with our inner selves. It is in these moments of quiet introspection that we can confront our shadows, integrate them, and move towards a more authentic and complete version of ourselves. As we continue on this journey exploring the path of the loner, we carry with us Jung's wisdom on the importance of introspection and the power of facing one's inner self. His teachings remind us that solitude can be a profound experience filled with opportunities for personal growth and self-discovery. In the words of Jung, looking inside is not just a path to awakening. It is an adventure into the very core of our being, revealing truths about ourselves that we might never have known otherwise. The individual has always had to struggle to keep from being overwhelmed by the tribe. If you try it, you will be lonely often and sometimes frightened. But no price is too high to pay for the privilege of owning yourself. Friedrich Nietzsche. Friedrich Nietzsche, a German philosopher of the late 19th century, is often associated with radical ideas that pushed against the prevailing moral and philosophical boundaries of his time. One of the central tenets of Nietzsche's philosophy is the importance of individualism and the strength that comes from embracing solitude. He championed the idea of the Übermensch, or overman, an individual who transcends the conventional boundaries and norms imposed by society. To him, the journey towards becoming an Übermensch is intrinsically linked with the willingness to stand alone, to detach oneself from the herd mentality that dominates much of human existence. He saw solitude not as a state of loneliness, but as a state of freedom where one could break free from societal expectations and discover their true potential. For Nietzsche, solitude is where one confronts the most profound questions of existence, far away from the distractions and influences of society. It is in this space of isolation that individuals have the opportunity to challenge themselves, to question their beliefs and values, and to forge a unique identity and purpose. Nietzsche's perspective on solitude is not just about physical aloneness. It is also about mental and philosophical independence. He believed that to truly find oneself and achieve greatness, one must be willing to stand apart, to think differently, and to take the path less traveled. This often means facing loneliness and fear. As he poignantly notes in his quote, the individual has always had to struggle to keep from being overwhelmed by the tribe. If you try it, you will be lonely often and sometimes frightened. But no price is too high to pay for the privilege of owning yourself. In Nietzsche's philosophy, embracing solitude is essential for self-discovery and personal growth. He saw the journey into solitude as a crucible, a challenging process that tests and refines an individual's character. It's through this process that one can shed societal conditioning and rediscover their innate strengths and desires. Nietzsche's encouragement to embrace solitude also involves embracing suffering and struggle. He believed that overcoming difficulties and enduring loneliness are what forge a strong, independent character. This process of self-overcoming is central to Nietzsche's idea of personal development. It is through facing and conquering our inner challenges that we grow and evolve. His call to solitude is ultimately a call to authenticity. In his view, only by stepping away from the crowd and facing oneself in the stillness of solitude can an individual truly come to know and express their authentic self. This authenticity is not just about adhering to one's own values and desires rather than those imposed by society. This path is not easy. He recognized that solitude could be a daunting and sometimes painful experience. However, he also believed that it is in these moments of struggle and isolation that we find our greatest strengths and our most profound truths. Solitude, in his philosophy, is a transformative force, a necessary condition for those who seek to live a life of depth, purpose, and authenticity. Friedrich Nietzsche's exploration of solitude challenges us to rethink our relationship with ourselves and the world around us. His philosophy invites us to step into the unknown territories of our minds, to question, to seek, and to grow. It encourages us to see solitude not as a burden, but as an opportunity for profound self-discovery and personal growth. As we continue our journey through the perspectives of great thinkers on the path of the loner, Nietzsche's words resonate with a powerful message. Embracing solitude is not just about being alone. It's about owning yourself, discovering your true potential, and living a life of authenticity and purpose. The only way to deal with an unfree world is to become so absolutely free that your very existence is an act of rebellion. Albert Camus. Moving on from the profound insights of Friedrich Nietzsche, we delve into the existential philosophy of Albert Camus, a thinker who explored the depths of human existence and its inherent absurdities. This French-Algerian philosopher and writer offered a unique perspective on life solitude and the human condition. Albert Camus is best known for his philosophy of the absurd, a concept that seeks to understand the human quest for meaning in a seemingly indifferent, chaotic universe. Camus argued that life is inherently devoid of meaning, and that our relentless search for purpose in a meaningless world is what creates the absurd condition. However, rather than viewing this realization as a cause for despair, Camus saw it as an opportunity for personal liberation and rebellion. In his seminal works, such as The Myth of Sisyphus and The Stranger, Camus illustrated the absurdity of human life through characters who confront the meaningless nature of existence. He proposed that when we acknowledge life's absurdity, we are faced with three choices: suicide, a leap of faith embracing religious or philosophical beliefs that provide artificial meaning, or acceptance and rebellion. Camus advocated for the latter, urging individuals to embrace the absurd and live with it rather than seeking escape. For him, embracing the absurdity of existence means accepting that life may not have a grand universal meaning or purpose. This acceptance does not lead to nihilism or despair, but rather to a profound sense of freedom. In the face of an absurd world, individuals are free to create their own meaning, to define their own values, and to live according to their own terms. This perspective places a significant emphasis on personal autonomy and individual experience. In solitude, away from societal pressures and collective beliefs, one can confront the absurdity of life more directly and authentically. Solitude becomes a space for reflection, for questioning, and for understanding the absurd condition of human existence. The key lesson from Camus' philosophy is the discovery of personal strength in the solitary struggle against the absurd. Camus believed that it is in our confrontation with life's inherent meaninglessness that we find our greatest potential for growth and resilience. He saw this struggle not as a passive resignation, but as an active rebellion against the absurdity of existence. In solitude, we are not distracted by the false comforts and illusions offered by society. We can face the absurd directly and forge our own path. This process requires courage, honesty, and a willingness to confront the most fundamental questions of our existence. As Camus famously stated, the only way to deal with an unfree world is to become so absolutely free that your very existence is an act of rebellion. In this rebellion, we find not only freedom, but also a profound sense of purpose and fulfillment. Camus' perspective on solitude is unique in that it frames aloneness as an act of defiance against an absurd world. In solitude, we are not merely alone. We are actively engaging with the deepest truths of our existence. We are questioning, challenging, and redefining our understanding of life and our place in it. This form of solitude is not about escaping from the world, but about engaging with it more authentically. It is a space where we can strip away the pretenses and distractions of society and face the raw truth of our existence. In this space, we can find clarity, strength, and a sense of authentic existence that is grounded in our own experiences and choices. Albert Camus' philosophy offers a compelling perspective on the path of the loner. It invites us to see solitude not as a retreat from the world, but as a space for profound engagement with the most fundamental aspects of our existence. It challenges us to find strength and purpose in the face of life's inherent absurdity and to embrace our solitary journey as a form of rebellion and freedom. As we continue to explore the perspectives of great thinkers on solitude, Camus's insights remind us that the path of the loner is not just a journey inward, but also a journey outward into the world. It is a path of questioning, confronting, and ultimately rebelling against the absurdities of existence, finding in this rebellion a source of strength, freedom, and authentic living. Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul. Marcus Aurelius. After exploring the existential perspectives of Albert Camus, we now turn our focus to the ancient wisdom of Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher. His meditations on life, solitude, and the human spirit offer timeless lessons on finding inner peace and resilience. Marcus Aurelius, one of the last great emperors of Rome, is best known for his contributions to Stoic philosophy. Stoicism, a school of Hellenistic philosophy, emphasizes the development of self-control and fortitude as a means to overcome destructive emotions. For Marcus Aurelius, Stoicism was not just an intellectual exercise, but a practical guide for living a meaningful life, especially amidst the immense responsibilities and challenges of ruling an empire. In his personal writings, later compiled as Meditations, Aurelius frequently reflects on themes of nature, the rational order of the universe, and the importance of aligning oneself with these natural laws. His philosophy is grounded in the belief that peace and happiness come not from external circumstances, but from one's inner life and attitude. He believed in the power of the human mind to maintain tranquility and clarity despite external chaos. He advocated for a life lived in accordance with nature and reason, where one's actions are guided by virtue and wisdom. For Aurelius, the greatest challenges and disturbances come not from the outside world, but from within, from our own reactions, judgments, and emotions. One of the key practices in Stoicism, and particular in Aurelius's teachings, is the exercise of reflection and introspection. He saw solitude as an essential element for this practice, a time to retreat into one's own mind and examine one's thoughts, beliefs, and actions. In his own words, nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul. For him, solitude was not about physical isolation, but about creating a space within oneself for calm and introspective thought. In this space, one can step back from the distractions and demands of the external world and engage in a dialogue with oneself. This process of reflection is crucial for understanding our reactions to life's events and for aligning our actions with our values and principles. In his meditations, Aurelius often discusses the idea of observing one's thoughts and emotions as if from a distance, without being swept away by them. This practice of detached awareness allows for a deeper understanding of the self and fosters a sense of inner harmony and resilience. By regularly engaging in this solitary reflection, we can cultivate a mental state that remains stable and serene regardless of external circumstances. Stoicism teaches that true freedom and peace come from within, from the mastery over one's own thoughts and emotions. Marcus Aurelius's reflections show that solitude can be a powerful ally in this pursuit. It provides the opportunity to disconnect from the noise of the external world and to reconnect with our deeper selves. In solitude, we can practice the Stoic principles of acceptance, understanding that we cannot control external events, only our reactions to them. We can also cultivate gratitude and mindfulness, focusing on the present moment and appreciating the simple joys of life. These practices help in building a resilient and contented spirit, grounded in the wisdom of self-awareness and self-mastery. Marcus Aurelius's Stoic philosophy offers a profound perspective on the role of solitude in achieving inner peace and resilience. His teachings remind us that solitude is not an escape from the world, but a return to the self, a space where we can cultivate wisdom, virtue, and emotional strength. As we continue on our journey exploring the path of the loner, the insights of Aurelius serve as a guiding light, showing us how solitude can be used not just for reflection, but for the maintenance and enhancement of our inner harmony. In our moments alone, we have the opportunity to engage with some of the deepest and most transformative aspects of our being, forging a sense of peace and stability that can withstand the tumults of the external world. Loneliness is the poverty of self. Solitude is richness of self. Rollo May. Building on the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius, we now turn to the 20th century existential psychologist Rollo May, whose perspectives on solitude, anxiety, and personal growth offer a modern take on the timeless journey of self-discovery. Often regarded as the father of existential psychology in America, May brought a unique blend of existential philosophy and psychoanalytic theory to the study of human behavior. May's work focuses on the human experience, emphasizing the role of individual choice responsibility and the search for meaning in life. One of his central themes is the exploration of anxiety not as a symptom to be eradicated, but as a fundamental aspect of the human condition that can lead to personal growth and self-awareness. In his approach, May differentiates between two types of loneliness: existential loneliness, an inevitable part of the human condition, and neurotic loneliness, a result of avoiding the existential loneliness. He posits that embracing solitude, and thus confronting existential loneliness, is essential for genuine self-discovery and psychological health. He viewed anxiety as an inescapable part of being human. Rather than something to be avoided or suppressed, May believed anxiety could be a powerful catalyst for self-examination and personal growth. He argued that facing our anxieties in moments of solitude allows us to confront our deepest fears and uncertainties, leading to a deeper understanding of ourselves and our place in the world. According to May, it is only by acknowledging and wrestling with our anxieties that we can truly come to terms with them. This process of confrontation requires courage, the courage to be alone with oneself and one's thoughts, to face the existential realities of life, including our own finitude, freedom, and isolation. For May, solitude is far more than physical aloneness. It is a psychological space where one can engage in honest self-reflection. In his view, solitude provides the necessary quietude and distance from everyday distractions for profound introspective work. It is in these moments of stillness that we can confront our anxieties and fears, not as abstract concepts, but as lived experiences that shape our existence. This confrontation is not a passive act. It involves actively engaging with our anxieties, questioning their origins, and understanding their impact on our lives. May believed that through this process, individuals could achieve a greater sense of authenticity and personal freedom. In his words, loneliness is the poverty of self. Solitude is richness of self. Rollo May's existential psychology underscores the necessity of solitude for personal development. He saw solitude as an opportunity to delve into the deeper aspects of the self, our values, beliefs, and existential concerns. This process is essential for developing a sense of identity that is not merely a reflection of societal expectations, but an authentic expression of our innermost selves. In solitude, we can also cultivate resilience and a greater capacity for coping with life's challenges. By facing our anxieties and fears alone, we learn to trust in our own strength and wisdom. This self-reliance is crucial for navigating the complexities of life with confidence and purpose. His insights into the nature of anxiety and the role of solitude in confronting it offer a valuable perspective on the path of the loner. He invites us to see solitude not as a state to be feared or avoided, but as a vital space for personal growth and self-realization. In the quiet moments alone with ourselves, we can confront the truths of our existence, find clarity amidst the chaos, and emerge with a stronger, more authentic sense of self. As we continue our exploration of the wisdom of solitude, Rollo May's teachings remind us that the journey inward is not just the path of introspection, but also a path of courage, the courage to face our deepest fears, to embrace our anxieties, and to discover the richness that lies within the solitude of our own being. To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. Ralph Waldo Emerson. From the existential introspection of Rollo May, we now shift to the transcendent views of Ralph Waldo Emerson, a 19th century American philosopher, essayist, and poet whose works on individualism and self-reliance have profoundly influenced the fabric of American thought and self-perception. Often considered the father of American transcendentalism, Emerson championed the ideals of individuality and personal integrity. His essays, most notably Self-Reliance, articulate a philosophy that prioritizes the inner voice and personal conviction over societal norms and external approval. Emerson's message is clear: the individual is the central unit of society, and true growth and happiness stem from self-reliance and authenticity. Central to his philosophy is the concept of self-reliance, which he defines as the reliance on one's own powers and resources rather than those of others. This self-reliance is not merely a matter of survival or independence, but a moral imperative. Emerson views it as essential for the cultivation of a robust individual character and a vibrant, diverse society. For Emerson, nonconformity is the natural corollary to self-reliance. He argued against blind adherence to societal norms and popular opinion, advocating instead for a life guided by personal conscience and intuition. Emerson's famous quote, "To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment," encapsulates this idea. It's a call to resist the pressures to conform and a reminder of the immense value of personal authenticity. In his view, solitude is a vital ingredient for developing self-reliance. Away from the crowd and societal pressures, one finds the space to listen to their inner voice and discover their true desires and beliefs. Solitude for Emerson is not about isolation or withdrawal from society. Instead, it's about creating a necessary distance to cultivate self-awareness and independent thought. He encourages us to embrace solitude as a time of reflection and personal growth. In these moments alone, we can ponder our experiences, evaluate our beliefs, and forge our path. This process requires courage and honesty, as it often means challenging the status quo and facing the uncertainties that come with forging one's own path. For Emerson, the journey into solitude is also a journey towards authenticity. It is in the quiet moments of introspection that we can shed societal expectations and uncover our true selves. This authenticity is not a fixed state, but a continuous process of self-discovery and expression. His philosophy suggests that authentic living is not just about self-satisfaction, but also about contributing to society in a meaningful way. By being true to ourselves, we bring a unique perspective and energy to the world, enriching it through our individuality. This contribution, Emerson argues, is the highest form of social engagement, one that respects the diversity and autonomy of each individual. His philosophy encourages us to view solitude not as a retreat from the world, but as a crucial space for cultivating independence, authenticity, and a deep sense of self. As we continue our exploration of solitude and its impact on the human spirit, Emerson's words remind us of the transformative power of solitude in fostering self-reliance and independent thought. His legacy inspires us to embrace our individuality, to listen to our inner voice, and to have the courage to be true to ourselves, even in the face of societal pressures. Imagine waking up each morning with a burning passion, a clear purpose that propels you out of bed, invigorating every part of your day. Now, contrast this with those days when you feel aimless, stuck in a rut of laziness, where even the simplest tasks seem monumental. What makes the difference? Today, we're diving into an ancient Japanese philosophy that holds the secret to transforming your life from the latter to the former. Welcome to the world of Ikigai, a path to finding your unique purpose and overcoming the chains of laziness. In our fast-paced modern world, it's all too easy to fall into the trap of laziness. We've all been there, those days when motivation seems like a distant memory and our goals feel out of reach. But what if I told you that this pervasive sense of lethargy could be more than just a lack of willpower? What if it's a symptom of a deeper issue, a life devoid of true purpose and direction? My journey with laziness has been a personal battle. I remember days when I felt like I was walking through a fog of apathy, where even my passions seemed dull and uninteresting. It was a cycle of procrastination and guilt, and it seemed impossible to break free. But then I encountered a concept that changed my perspective: Ikigai. This Japanese philosophy, which translates to a reason for being, is a convergence of what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what can sustain you. It's about finding the sweet spot where your passions and talents meet the needs of the world. This video is not just about combating laziness in the traditional sense, it's about a deeper transformation. We're going to explore how finding your Ikigai can reignite your zest for life, providing you with a clear direction and a renewed sense of purpose. It's about shifting the focus from what you should be doing to what you truly want to be doing. We'll start by delving into what laziness really is. Is it a lack of discipline, or is it possibly a signpost pointing to a life that's out of alignment with your true desires and potential? We'll explore the psychological underpinnings of laziness, looking at why our brains sometimes prefer inaction to pursuing our goals. From there, we'll journey into the heart of Ikigai. I'll share the origins of this life-affirming philosophy and break down its 4 key components. This isn't just a theoretical discussion. I'll guide you through practical exercises to help you identify your own Ikigai. We'll explore how to weave these insights into your everyday life, turning them from abstract concepts into a living, breathing part of your daily existence. But finding your purpose is just the beginning. The real magic happens when you start to apply it to overcome laziness. We'll discuss how having a clear purpose based on your Ikigai can fuel your motivation and energy levels. You'll learn how to set goals that resonate with your Ikigai, and I'll share strategies for incorporating daily habits that align with your newfound purpose. Of course, no journey is without its challenges. We'll tackle the common obstacles you might face while pursuing your purpose and provide practical solutions to overcome them. This includes balancing your professional, personal, and social life and adapting your Ikigai as you grow and evolve. The final part of our journey will focus on living with this philosophy. It's about making a long-term commitment to a life that's in harmony with your purpose. We'll talk about how to make life decisions, big and small, in line with your ikigai and the importance of continually reassessing and adapting your path. Laziness is a term we often hear thrown around, but what does it truly mean? Commonly, laziness is perceived as an unwillingness to act or work, a kind of inertness that grips us. However, this surface-level understanding fails to recognize the complex web of factors beneath. To truly tackle laziness, we first need to differentiate it from its benign cousins, relaxation and fatigue. Relaxation is a conscious choice to rest and rejuvenate. It's an essential process that allows our minds and bodies to recover from the stresses of daily life. Fatigue, on the other hand, is a state of physical or mental exhaustion. It's a signal from our bodies or minds that we need to rest. Laziness, distinct from these two, is often a symptom rather than a choice or a signal. It's not about the need to rest, but rather about a reluctance to engage despite having the capacity to do so. From a psychological standpoint, laziness can be a complex interplay of various factors. One primary factor is a lack of motivation, when our goals don't seem compelling or rewarding. Our drive to achieve them naturally wanes. This lack of motivation might stem from not having clear goals, not seeing the value in the goals we have, or simply feeling overwhelmed by the magnitude of the tasks at hand. Another critical psychological factor is the fear of failure. Often we avoid starting tasks because we're scared of not succeeding. This fear can be deeply rooted in our past experiences, self-esteem issues, or societal pressures. It creates a paralyzing effect where the possibility of negative outcomes overshadows our potential for success. Procrastination, closely linked to laziness, is another aspect worth exploring. It's a coping mechanism where we delay tasks to avoid discomfort or unpleasant emotions associated with those tasks. This can create a vicious cycle. The more we delay, the more daunting the task seems, and the less inclined we feel to tackle it. The impact of chronic laziness can be far-reaching. On a personal level, it can stunt our growth and development. When we consistently avoid challenges or shirk responsibilities, we miss out on opportunities to learn new skills, build resilience, and develop a sense of accomplishment. This stagnation can lead to feelings of dissatisfaction and a lack of fulfillment in our personal lives. In relationships, chronic laziness can create tension and conflict. When one person habitually avoids responsibilities or puts minimal effort into the relationship, it can place an unfair burden on others. This imbalance can lead to resentment, a breakdown in communication, and ultimately strained relationships. Professionally, laziness can severely hinder career progress. In the workplace, a lack of initiative and effort can lead to poor performance reviews, missed promotions, or even job loss. In the broader scope, if a significant portion of a population succumbs to chronic laziness, it can impact societal progress and innovation. Understanding these facets of laziness is crucial in addressing it effectively. It's not about chastising ourselves for being lazy, but rather about understanding the underlying reasons and addressing them. By doing so, we can unlock a more productive, fulfilling, and purpose-driven life. Ikigai, a term that has no direct equivalent in English, originates from the Japanese island of Okinawa, often referred to as the island of longevity. This concept, deeply ingrained in Okinawan culture, intertwines with their lifestyle and is considered one of the reasons behind their remarkable longevity. This term combines two Japanese words, iki, meaning life, and gai, which roughly translates to worth or value. Together it signifies the value of being alive, the joy and purpose one finds in life's pursuits. It's about discovering what makes life worth living for you as an individual. In Okinawan culture, this isn't just a pursuit for the young or the ambitious. It's a lifelong journey that continues well into old age, evolving and adapting with time. In the broader Japanese philosophy, ikigai is viewed as a convergence of four primary elements, each representing essential questions that guide us towards finding our unique purpose. Let's delve into these four dimensions. What you love, your passion. This dimension urges you to explore your passions and interests. It's about asking yourself, what activities make me feel happy and fulfilled? These are activities that you're naturally drawn to, that you can immerse yourself in for hours without feeling the passage of time, the things that you would do even if you weren't getting paid, what you're good at, your vocation. Here the focus shifts to your skills and talents. What are the things you excel at? These could be skills you've developed over the years or innate talents you've always possessed. It's about recognizing your strengths and how they can be applied in various aspects of your life. What the world needs, your mission. This dimension extends beyond the self and looks at your role in the larger context of the world. It involves considering how your passions and skills can meet the needs of others. What can you offer that will contribute positively to society or your community? It's about finding a sense of purpose in serving others and making a difference. What you can be paid for your profession. The final dimension addresses the practical aspect of life making a living. It asks you to consider how you can monetize your passions and skills. However, it's important to note that ikigai doesn't imply that you need to turn every passion into a career. Rather, it's about finding a balance where your work provides financial stability and personal fulfillment. The intersection of these four elements is where ikigai lies. It's that sweet spot where your passions align with your talents, meet the needs of the world, and can sustain you financially. Finding your ikigai means you're not just existing, but living a life filled with purpose, joy, and fulfillment. However, discovering your ikigai is not an overnight process. It's a journey of self-exploration, trial and error, and introspection. It requires you to be honest with yourself, to explore different areas of your life, and to be open to the evolving nature of your purpose. As life changes, so too might your purpose, and that's perfectly normal. The key is to stay attuned to your inner self and the world around you, continually seeking alignment between what you love, what you are good at, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. The journey to uncovering your purpose begins with an in-depth self-exploration. This process involves introspection and reflection across the four dimensions of ikigai: what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. Exploring passions. What you love. Start by listing activities that bring you joy and fulfillment. These could be hobbies, interests, or anything that you find deeply satisfying. Ask yourself, when do I feel most alive? Or, what activities make me lose track of time? It could be anything from cooking, painting, or writing to more abstract things like problem solving, helping others, or organizing, assessing skills. What you're good at. Next, focus on your talents and skills. Reflect on feedback you received from others, moments when you felt a sense of achievement, or tasks you find relatively easy and enjoyable. These could range from specific skills like coding, teaching, or public speaking to more general skills like empathy, critical thinking, or creativity. Identifying needs. What the world needs. This dimension requires you to think beyond yourself and consider how your abilities and passions could meet the needs of others. Reflect on the issues or needs in your community or the world that resonate with you: environmental conservation, education, healthcare, or even more localized issues in your community. Considering earning potential, what you can be paid for. Finally, think about how you can monetize your passions and skills. This doesn't mean turning every passion into a job, but rather finding a way to sustain yourself while doing what you love. Are there existing professions or niches where your passions and skills intersect? Could you create a new path or business idea based on these? Once you have a list for each dimension, the next step is to find overlaps, which is where your potential ikigai lies. Look for intersections between what you love and what you're good at. This is often where your passion and vocation intersect. Then see how these can align with what the world needs and what you can be paid for. Creating a visual map or a Venn diagram can be incredibly helpful in this process. Place each of your listed items in the corresponding circles and look for overlaps. The center, where all four dimensions intersect, is your ikigai. However, remember that ikigai is not always found at the perfect center. Sometimes it might lean more towards one or two dimensions, and that's perfectly fine. To illustrate, let's look at some examples. Example 1. Imagine someone who loves painting passion has developed a skill in digital graphic design. Vocation sees a need for compelling visual communication in social campaigns mission and finds opportunities to work as a freelance graphic designer profession. Their ikigai lies in the intersection of these elements, using their artistic skills and passion for meaningful visual storytelling to contribute to social causes while earning a livelihood. Example 2. Consider someone passionate about cooking. Passion, particularly skilled in nutrition and healthy eating. Vocation recognizes a growing need for dietary education in their community mission and can earn by offering cooking classes or nutritional consultancy profession. Their ikigai could be educating and helping others to eat healthily and deliciously. Remember, finding your purpose is a personal and often evolving journey. It might require you to step out of your comfort zone, learn new skills, or even rethink your career path. It's about trial and error, learning about yourself, and being open to where life takes you. Having explored how to find your ikigai, we will next discuss how this powerful concept can be used to overcome laziness, fuel motivation, and guide you in setting meaningful goals that align with your life's purpose. Building on the foundation of discovering your purpose, let's now explore how this profound concept can be a catalyst in overcoming laziness. The key to overcoming laziness lies in finding a purpose that resonates deeply with your inner self. This is where this philosophy shines. When you discover your ikigai, you uncover a source of motivation that is intrinsic and self-sustaining. Unlike external motivators such as money or recognition, intrinsic motivation comes from within. It's driven by an interest or enjoyment in the task itself, and it's far more powerful in inspiring action and perseverance. A clear purpose gives you a reason to get up in the morning, a direction that excites and fulfills you. It transforms I have to tasks into I want to activities. When you engage in tasks that align with your purpose, work doesn't feel like a chore. Instead, it becomes a meaningful pursuit. This shift in perspective is crucial in combating laziness, as it's not about pushing yourself to act against your will, but rather being pulled by a deeper internal drive. Setting goals that align with your life's meaning is essential for maintaining this intrinsic motivation. These goals act as stepping stones, guiding you along the path of your life's meaning. Here are some tips for setting purpose-aligned goals. Reflect on your purpose. Revisit the 4 dimensions of your ikigai and use them as a compass for setting your goals. Ensure that your goals resonate with what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what can sustain you. Set specific and meaningful goals. Vague goals are less likely to inspire action. Make your goals specific, clear, and connected to the essence of your ikigai. Balance aspiration with realism. While it's important to aim high, ensure your goals are achievable. Unrealistic goals can lead to frustration and demotivation. Break larger goals into smaller, manageable tasks to maintain momentum. Incorporate short-term and long-term goals. Short-term goals provide immediate motivation and a sense of achievement, while long-term goals keep you aligned with your overarching purpose. For example, if your ikigai is to teach, a short-term goal might be to complete a teaching certification, while a long-term goal could be to open your own educational institute. Regularly review and adapt your goals as you grow and evolve. So might your ikigai. Regularly reflect on your goals and adjust them as needed to ensure they remain aligned with your life's purpose. Moving forward in our journey, it is crucial to translate this concept into actionable steps in our daily lives. Implementing this concept is not just about identifying it, but living it, making it a part of every aspect of our existence. Cultivating passion and skills, active engagement in passions. To live your ikigai, actively engage in activities that you're passionate about. If you love painting, set aside regular time to paint. If you are passionate about music, dedicate time to practice or explore music. Active engagement means making these activities a non-negotiable part of your routine, not something you do only when you find spare time. Skill enhancement. Alongside nurturing your passions, focus on enhancing the skills that are integral to your ikigai. This could involve formal education, online courses, workshops, or self-taught practices. For example, if your ikigai involves writing, you might take creative writing courses or attend writer workshops. Experimentation and exploration. Be open to experimenting with new ways to explore your passions and skills. This could mean trying new techniques, collaborating with others, or branching out into related areas. Experimentation keeps your journey towards ikigai dynamic and exciting. Documenting progress. Keep a record of your progress. This could be a journal, a blog, or a digital portfolio. Documenting your journey not only serves as a motivational tool, but also helps you reflect on your growth and the evolution of your passions and skills. Balancing life's aspects. Work-life harmony. Balancing professional commitments with your ikigai is crucial. If your current job doesn't align with your ikigai, find ways to integrate aspects of your ikigai into your job. Personal life alignment. Ensure that your personal life and relationships support and enrich your pursuit of ikigai. This could mean setting boundaries to protect time for your passions or involving your loved ones in your journey. Social contributions. Part of ikigai involves making a positive impact on the world. Engage in community activities, volunteer work. This not only enriches your own life, but also contributes to the broader community. Balanced routine. Create a daily routine that accommodates work, personal life, and activities related to your ikigai. A balanced routine ensures that you are dedicating sufficient time and energy to each aspect of your life. Overcoming challenges. Dealing with doubt and fear. Pursuing your purpose, especially if it involves significant changes in life, can be daunting. When faced with doubt or fear, remind yourself of the reasons behind choosing your ikigai. Reflect on the joy and fulfillment it brings to keep yourself motivated. Time management. One of the biggest challenges in pursuing life's meaning is finding the time to do so. Effective time management, such as prioritizing tasks, eliminating unnecessary activities, and possibly waking up earlier or reallocating leisure time, can help create space for your ikigai activities. Financial considerations. If pursuing your ikigai involves financial risk, like starting a new business or changing careers, plan carefully. This might include saving up a financial cushion, seeking part-time opportunities, or starting small while you transition. Seeking support. Don't hesitate to seek support. This could be from family, friends, mentors, or a community of like-minded individuals. Support networks provide encouragement, advice, and sometimes practical help. Resilience in the face of failure. Not every attempt to pursue your life's purpose will be successful. It's important to develop resilience and view failures as learning opportunities. Reflect on what didn't work, adjust your approach, and try again. Overcoming the challenges on this path, such as dealing with doubt, managing time effectively, navigating financial implications, and building resilience against failures, is integral to living a life driven by Ikigai. Remember, the pursuit of your life's goal is not a destination, but a continuous journey of growth and self-discovery. By adopting these practical steps and maintaining a balanced approach, you can cultivate a life that resonates deeply with your inner values and passions, ultimately overcoming the inertia of laziness and living a life brimming with purpose and fulfillment. In every epic tale, from ancient legends to modern blockbusters, a protagonist embarks on a transformative journey, a transition from youthful naivety to the wisdom of maturity, a story of becoming. But what if this journey, this very rite of passage, seems interrupted, delayed, or even halted? What if Peter Pan chose never to leave Neverland? The world is changing. We're living in an era where the age-old rituals and traditions that once signposted our pathway from childhood to adulthood have either evolved or disappeared entirely. Gone are the days when manhood's rites of passage were clearly defined, when milestones such as leaving home, securing steady employment, or starting a family were the common signifiers of having grown up. Enter the 21st century, and we encounter a peculiar phenomenon, a substantial group of young men who in many ways appear to remain stuck in a perpetual state of adolescence. This isn't a mere stereotype portrayed in sitcoms or joked about at family gatherings. It's a societal reality with tangible implications impacting economies, family structures, and the individual psyches of those caught in its wake. The numbers speak for themselves. As of the last few decades, we've seen a significant spike in the number of young men, particularly those in their 20s and 30s, still living at home. In the United States alone, the Pew Research Center reported in 2020 that a staggering 52% of young adults resided with one or both of their parents, a percentage not witnessed since the Great Depression era. But it isn't just about living arrangements. Employment rates, too, paint a worrying picture. The labor force participation rate among young men has been on a consistent decline. While several factors contribute to this, from automation to global economic shifts, the personal narratives often revolve around feelings of disenfranchisement or a perceived lack of opportunity. Many express feeling outmatched, outpaced, and often out of place. More than just economical, the emotional and psychological landscapes of these men reveal signs of developmental delays. A survey from the American Psychological Association indicated a rise in reported feelings of loneliness, aimlessness, and a sense of being stuck among this demographic. Traditional markers of adulthood seem to elude them, not just in achieving them, but often in even desiring them. Now, these statistics and observations aren't meant to berate or criticize. They're a call to understand, to empathize, and more critically, to seek solutions. If we're to aid these young men in their passage to maturity, we first need to fathom the depths of this modern enigma. So, why is this happening? Why, in an age of unprecedented information and opportunity, do so many young men feel lost in the labyrinth of adulthood? It's tempting to lay blame on contemporary culture or the whims of the new generation, but that's an oversimplified answer to a multifaceted puzzle. To truly dissect this quandary, we need to dig deeper. We need to tap into the wellspring of knowledge left behind by some of history's most astute observers of the human condition, our philosophers, psychologists, and mythologists. What lessons, warnings, or guidance did they leave behind that might illuminate our path? How did ancient societies navigate the murky waters of manhood? What does our current societal structure contribute to this conundrum? And can age-old myths, like those elucidated by Joseph Campbell, offer a mirror to today's young man lost in his own hero's journey? Join us as we delve into this intriguing exploration, seeking not just answers, but also strategies to reignite the ageless fire of growth, responsibility, and maturity, because every young man deserves his hero's journey, and every society benefits from the stories of those who've walked the path before. Joseph Campbell, a name synonymous with mythology and the human experience, crafted a framework that transcends time, geography, and culture. This framework is known as the monomyth, a singular narrative underlying countless myths, legends, and stories from every corner of the globe. At its heart, it's not merely a scholarly concept, it's a mirror to our own lives, our trials, and our transformations. Campbell once said, "Myths are public dreams. Dreams are private myths." In stating this, he highlighted that the tales that have endured centuries, even millennia, share a common structure because they reflect the shared experiences of humanity. Whether it's the quests of Greek heroes, the spiritual journeys in ancient Indian texts, or the adventures of modern superheroes, the same pattern emerges over and over. This pattern, as Campbell identified, is the hero's journey. To delve into the hero's journey, we must first appreciate its three distinct phases: separation, initiation, and return. Separation marks the beginning, where the hero departs from the familiar world. It's a moment of disruption where the status quo is challenged. Sometimes this separation is voluntary, other times it's forced upon the hero. Think of Luke Skywalker's humble beginnings on Tatooine, far removed from the vast expanse of the galaxy, until an unexpected turn of events pushes him onto a path of destiny. For many young men, this phase is analogous to leaving home for the first time, starting college, or stepping into the workforce. It's an uncomfortable yet essential rift from the familiar. The second phase, initiation, encompasses the heart of the journey. Here, the hero faces numerous challenges, meeting allies and adversaries, experiencing both defeats and triumphs. This is the phase of growth where skills are honed, beliefs are questioned, and identity is forged. Campbell's emphasis on this phase is crucial. It's not the destination, but the journey that molds the hero. In the context of our young men, think of the myriad challenges of adulthood, establishing a career, building meaningful relationships, grappling with failures, and celebrating personal achievements. These experiences, both bitter and sweet, are the crucibles in which their maturity is tested and tempered. Finally, the return. After facing the ordeals, after growing and evolving, the hero must return to the familiar world, bringing back the wisdom and the gifts acquired from the journey. This is not merely a physical return. It's a symbolic homecoming, marking a hero's transformation from who they once were to who they've become. For young adults, this might symbolize achieving a level of stability, perhaps starting a family, or simply realizing a deeper understanding of themselves and their place in the world. Soundbite Joseph Campbell on initiation rituals, where boys face masked men representing societal power, fight, and win, putting on the mask to represent that power themselves, breaking past the image as fact to understand image as metaphor. Emphasizes killing the infantile ego of dependency to achieve mature ego of authority. How does the hero's journey reflect the path of today's young men to adulthood? An intriguing observation is that many seem trapped in the initiation phase. While they have separated from their childhood, they grapple with the trials and tribulations of the initiation without seeming to find their way out. The dragons they face aren't mythical beasts, but rather societal pressures, personal insecurities, economic uncertainties, and often a lack of clear purpose or direction. Their battles are silent, internal, and often unacknowledged. Several reasons can explain this prolonged initiation. The modern world, with its overwhelming choices, can induce a paralysis of sorts. Traditional milestones of adulthood may seem elusive due to shifting societal norms. The digital age, with its constant comparisons on social media platforms, can exacerbate feelings of inadequacy or being left behind. The journey, which in myths was often simplified with clear adversaries and challenges, has become more abstract, more internalized. While ancient heroes had mentors, guiding figures offering wisdom and direction, many young men today feel they're navigating their journey without a compass. In the absence of these guides, the roadmap to the return phase remains obscure. However, recognizing this prolonged initiation is the first step to addressing it. By understanding where they stand on their hero's journey, young men can seek out the mentors, the experiences, and the wisdom they need to progress towards their personal return. The beauty of Campbell's framework is not just in its analysis, but its inherent hope. Every hero, no matter the odds, has the potential for triumph. In understanding this journey and recognizing its universal applicability, society, too, can play its part. By fostering environments of understanding, by providing resources and guidance, and by acknowledging the unique challenges of modern adulthood, we can help guide our young men to complete their hero's journey. After all, every hero deserves a triumphant return. Soundbite Joseph Campbell talks about initiation rituals where boys face a demon dragon grandpa, learn to break past it, and gain a new expanded life, signifying the death of the infantile ego of dependency and the emergence of the mature ego of authority and courage. Every myth, legend, or fable that resonates with us has a pivotal moment, the confrontation with the dragon. For Campbell, this dragon isn't just a beast in the tales of yore. It is the manifestation of our deepest fears, challenges, and doubts. It's a symbolic representation of those formidable obstacles we must overcome to realize our full potential. For young men navigating the maze of modern adulthood, these dragons take on very personal, very real forms. The first such dragon many young men confront is fear. The world outside the familiar cocoon of adolescence is fraught with uncertainty. The fear of not being good enough, of failing, of not living up to societal benchmarks can be paralyzing. With the information deluge of the digital age, this fear is amplified. Every success story they see on social media, every peer who seems to be leagues ahead, stokes the fire of this fear. It's the gnawing doubt, whispering, what if I'm not cut out for this? Or what if I never find my way? Then there's the gargantuan dragon of societal pressures, the tapestry of society woven with threads of expectations, norms, and judgments can be stifling. When will you settle down? Isn't it time you had a stable job? When will we see you with someone? These questions, while seemingly innocuous, bear weight. The societal blueprint of what a successful adulthood looks like can be both a guide and a shackle. It's a constant reminder of the milestones they haven't achieved, the checkboxes still unticked. Lastly, and perhaps most daunting, is the dragon of personal insecurities. These are the scars and wounds from past experiences, the internalized criticisms, and the self-deprecating beliefs that become barriers to growth. It's the voice that says, "You're not smart enough, not strong enough, not worthy enough." This dragon's silent yet powerful casts a shadow over their journey, often redirecting their path or halting it altogether. But as Campbell elucidated, the dragon isn't just an adversary, it's an opportunity. Confronting the dragon isn't just about vanquishing an external challenge, it's a profound moment of internal growth. By facing their fears, by challenging societal norms, and by healing personal insecurities, young men don't just progress on their journey, they transform. This confrontation is more than a battle, it's a rite of passage. It's the chrysalis from which they emerge not as boys, but as men who've embraced their true selves. But what does this true self look like? Campbell's wisdom suggests it's the discovery of one's own personal legend or unique calling, to borrow from another great thinker who wrote The Alchemist. The personal legend is what you have always wanted to accomplish. It's that innermost dream, untainted by external expectations or societal molds. Finding this legend isn't about meeting benchmarks set by others, but about aligning with one's inner compass. In the cacophony of modern life, amidst the myriad voices telling them who they should be, the challenge for young men is to find and listen to their own voice. It's about asking, who am I separate from what the world wants me to be? This introspection, this journey inward, is perhaps the most critical step towards true adulthood, because maturity isn't just about age or external achievements. It's about recognizing and honoring one's essence. Embracing this personal legend means shedding the weight of expectations and forging one's own path. It's about understanding that real success isn't measured by societal yardsticks, but by the alignment between one's actions and one's truth. Every young man's legend will be unique, and that's the beauty of it. Whether it's pursuing a passion making a difference or simply finding contentment, this legend is the beacon guiding them through the murkiness of life's challenges. As we ponder Campbell's wisdom, the takeaway is clear. Facing the dragons isn't an ordeal to dread, but a gateway to growth. And the true mark of adulthood isn't just age or milestones, but the courage to chase one's personal legend, even if it veers off the trodden path. For in the end, it's these unique journeys, these individual legends that enrich the tapestry of humanity, offering hope and inspiration for the heroes yet to embark on their quests. To understand the journey of young men today, it's enlightening to cast our gaze back in time. Ancient societies, with their structured norms and distinct values, offer a contrasting backdrop to modernity's fluid landscape. Among the luminaries of ancient civilizations, the Greeks and Romans stand tall, both for their monumental achievements and their intricate societal tapestry. By delving into their perspectives on manhood and responsibility, we gain a deeper appreciation for the timeless essence of adulthood and its ever-evolving challenges. In the heart of ancient Greece, manhood wasn't just an age marker. It was a profound transition entailing duties, honor, and societal roles. A boy's transition to a man wasn't simply heralded by physical maturity. The Greeks held a holistic view, encapsulating the spiritual, mental, and civic evolution. The ephobeia, a rite of passage for Athenian boys, epitomizes this multifaceted transition. Beginning at around the age of 18, this rite wasn't just a ceremonial observance. It was an intricate process of training spanning physical regimen, civic duties, and spiritual introspection. Throughout the ephobeia, young men learned the arts of war, the nuances of governance, and the profound philosophies that Greece is celebrated for. It was a transformative journey, molding not just warriors, but thinkers, leaders, and citizens. Completing this rite wasn't just about individual growth. It was a covenant to society, a pledge of service and responsibility. In their world, a man's worth wasn't gauged by personal achievements alone, but by his contribution to the city-state. Their legends, from the valorous Achilles to the wise Odysseus, further underscore this duality of personal prowess and societal commitment. The Romans, inheriting and expanding upon Greek traditions, had their distinct flavor of manhood. In the heart of Rome, the transition from boy to man was symbolized through the toga virilis. When a boy donned this toga of manhood, usually around the age of 16, it wasn't just a sartorial choice, it was a profound metamorphosis. This change of attire marked his entrance into public life, his readiness to partake in the intricate dance of Roman politics, commerce, and society. Beyond attire, Roman manhood was defined by virtues derived from vir, meaning man, which was the embodiment of courage, valor, and excellence. But alongside virtues, other virtues like gravitas, a sense of duty, pietas, duty to the gods and family, and dignitas, a sense of personal worth, were pillars upon which Roman manhood stood. These virtues were instilled, tested, and honed through military service, public offices, and societal engagements. A Roman man's journey was one of perpetual growth, where every role, be it as a soldier, a senator, or a father, was a stepping stone to deeper wisdom and greater responsibility. The rites of passage and challenges these ancient young men faced were, in essence, societal crucibles. These rituals ensured that the young men not only matured as individuals but emerged as pillars of their communities. Whether it was defending their homeland, participating in civic duties, or simply upholding familial honor, their adulthood was a tapestry of personal and societal threads interwoven tightly. In contrast to our modern era, where the benchmarks of adulthood are increasingly individualistic and varied, the ancients had clear, structured milestones. But at their core, the challenges remain eerily similar: the quest for identity, the balance between personal desires and societal expectations, and the yearning for purpose are constants across time. In drawing parallels and contrast with these ancient civilizations, we glean insights for our contemporary maze of manhood. Perhaps the lesson is that while the markers of adulthood evolve, its essence remains immutable. It's a balance between self and society, between personal legend and communal duty. The rites may change, the challenges may wear different masks, but the journey in its depth and complexity remains a timeless human endeavor. As the sands of time have ebbed, the canvas of manhood has undergone considerable shifts, particularly evident in the realm of the modern age. Today's young men navigate a terrain starkly different from the structured labyrinths of ancient Greece and Rome. The societal crucibles, once defined by clear rites and communal virtues, are now overshadowed by multifaceted challenges birthed from rapid societal, economic, and educational transformations. Foremost among these transformations is the paradigm shift in education. No longer is education a brief transitional phase. It's an elongated journey, often stretching well into the mid-20s or even 30s for some. In ancient societies, by the time a man was in his early 20s, he had already shouldered significant responsibilities. Today, however, that same age might find a young man engrossed in tertiary education, grappling with the intricacies of specialized disciplines, or navigating the demanding corridors of graduate schools. The consequence? A delayed plunge into the working world. This prolongation of academic life creates a ripple effect, postponing not just financial independence, but often other markers of adulthood, like marriage, home ownership, or even clarity of purpose. The economic landscape further compounds these delays. Unlike the agrarian or localized economy of yore, today's globalized economy is both an avenue of boundless opportunities and a minefield of unpredictable challenges. Housing, once a straightforward milestone, is now a complex pursuit. With skyrocketing real estate prices in urban hubs, the dream of owning a piece of land, a staple of the proverbial American dream, feels increasingly elusive for many. The job market, too, bears little resemblance to its predecessors. The linear careers of the past have fragmented into a mosaic of gig economies, temporary contracts, and a constant race to upskill in the face of automation and AI. Economic crises, be it the financial meltdown of 2008 or the pervasive ramifications of the COVID-19 pandemic, cast long shadows on job security and financial stability. For a young man today, charting a course in this tumultuous economic sea requires more than diligence. It demands adaptability, resilience, and a penchant for lifelong learning. Parallel to these economic and educational tectonic shifts, the fabric of relationships, family, and marriage has undergone profound transformation. The once sacrosanct institution of marriage, often an early milestone in a man's life, has seen its timeline pushed. With shifting societal priorities, many young men and women prioritize personal growth, career ambitions, and individual pursuits before settling into marital commitments. The notion of family, too, is ever evolving. Nuclear families, single-parent households, or even chosen families of close friends redefine what home means in the 21st century. Moreover, the dynamics of relationships have adapted to the digital age. In a world where love can spark across continents through screens, and where relationships might begin or end with the swipe of a finger, the rules of engagement are continually being rewritten. These changes, while offering unprecedented freedom and choices, also bring forth new challenges. The paradox of choice, the quest for authentic connections in a digital age, and the balancing act between personal independence and shared responsibilities in partnerships. In this modern tableau, young men find themselves juggling an array of roles, expectations, and challenges. Where the ancients had clear, demarcated rites of passage, today's journey to adulthood is more fluid, less defined, and often punctuated with a series of mini-rites spanning decades. Yet, beneath these complexities, the underlying quest remains unchanged: the search for identity, purpose, and a rightful place in the societal mosaic. Navigating the complex waters of contemporary masculinity, a term frequently emerges, encapsulating both a cultural archetype and a tangible reflection of our era, the Peter Pan syndrome. This term, much like its namesake from J.M. Barrie's timeless tale, embodies the reluctance to grow up. It paints a picture of individuals trapped in the buoyant bliss of childhood, feet afloat, eyes averse to the shores of adulthood. But is it a mere metaphor, or does it find roots in deeper psychological underpinnings? Let's embark on a journey through its facets, origins, and implications. The Peter Pan syndrome at its core can be characterized by a profound resistance to the responsibilities of adult life. Individuals grappling with this condition often showcase a palpable fear of commitment, whether in relationships, careers, or personal goals. Their lives, rather than charting a definitive trajectory, seem to meander through a labyrinth of short-lived passions, fleeting relationships, and evasive responsibilities. The allure of the now overshadows the promises and perils of the tomorrow. An insatiable quest for pleasure, instant gratification, and an aversion to enduring hardships often punctuate their daily choices. Yet, while these attributes paint a vivid portrait, one must tread carefully. Is the Peter Pan syndrome a genuine clinical condition, or is it more of a societal construct? In the clinical realm, while it isn't recognized as a standalone disorder in major diagnostic manuals, certain traits associated with it mirror those found in conditions like avoidant personality disorder or certain types of narcissistic personality disorder. These overlapping characteristics include difficulty committing, avoiding responsibility, or seeking constant validation. Yet it's crucial to distinguish between genuine clinical conditions and behavior patterns influenced by societal and cultural factors. Labeling the latter as pathological can risk oversimplifying and stigmatizing complex behavioral phenomena. Delving into the causal pathways, multiple threads emerge, weaving a tapestry both intricate and intriguing. One significant strand is the rise of overprotective parenting. The helicopter parent, always hovering, shielding their progeny from life's bumps and scrapes, can inadvertently foster a sense of invulnerability in their children. When challenges arise, these individuals, cocooned for years, find themselves ill-equipped to tackle them, leading to avoidance and escapism. Societal changes, as elucidated in our discussion on modern shifts, further compound this. The era of abundant choice, while empowering, can also lead to decision paralysis. When every door is open, stepping through one becomes daunting, the fear of missing out. FOMO, a distinctly modern malaise, can trap individuals in a perpetual state of indecision, further fueling their Peter Pan tendencies. Inherent personality traits, too, play their part. Just as some are natural-born leaders or innately curious, others might lean towards comfort, risk aversion, or a heightened need for immediate gratification. While societal constructs or parenting styles can amplify these tendencies, they often have deep-seated roots in an individual's personality matrix. In our exploration of the Peter Pan syndrome, we unearth its layered nuances, origins, and intersections with both personal and societal dynamics. As we step back and view the broader canvas, we understand that it's not just an isolated phenomenon, but a reflection of the evolving nature of adulthood and societal expectations. Addressing it, therefore, is not a matter of mere diagnosis, but a call for societal introspection, understanding, and empathy. As we continue our journey into the psyche of modern manhood, it's essential to approach such phenomena with both critical thought and an open heart, fostering an environment where growth is both encouraged and nurtured. Amidst the myriad analyses of young men's inertia towards adulthood, it becomes essential to step into the domain where questions of existence, meaning, and identity hold sway philosophy. Existentialism, a philosophical movement rooted in understanding individual existence and freedom, presents a compelling lens through which to view this conundrum. At its heart lies a concept that resonates deeply with the challenges of modern manhood: authenticity. Existential authenticity is not just a mere understanding of oneself. It's about embracing one's freedom and the associated responsibilities. It's the acknowledgement that our existence is not predetermined, that we have the freedom to shape our destiny, and that in this freedom lies both our greatest strength and our deepest vulnerabilities. To be authentic is to be true to oneself, even when faced with life's inherent absurdities and the weight of external expectations. The theater of existentialism finds one of its most brilliant playwrights in Jean-Paul Sartre. For Sartre, the world is a stage where humans are condemned to be free. This freedom, boundless and intimidating, brings with it the anguish of choice. Yet it is within this freedom that the pitfalls of bad faith lurk. Bad faith is a form of self-deception. It's the act of lying to oneself, of evading the truth of one's freedom and the responsibilities it entails. When one lives in bad faith, they adopt false values, embrace societal roles without question, and avoid the sheer responsibility of carving their own path. Let's relate this to the hesitation, the fears of commitment, and the shirking of responsibilities often seen in young men today. Could it be that many are living in bad faith, veering away from the intimidating vastness of their own freedom? The societal templates of success, relationships, and manhood might seem enticing because they offer a semblance of structure in an otherwise chaotic existence. Adhering to these templates without introspection is a manifestation of bad faith. It's akin to wearing a mask, a guise that veils the intimidating freedom beneath. The fear of commitment, the allure of the transient, and the evasion of responsibility can all be seen as attempts to escape the weight of this freedom. After all, to commit, to decide to shoulder responsibility, is to confront one's freedom head on. It's to mold the clay of existence with one's own hands, even at the risk of shaping it imperfectly. Existentialism, with its emphasis on individual freedom and authenticity, beckons one to cast away the chains of bad faith and embrace the liberating, albeit daunting, truth of one's existence. It's a clarion call to young men, urging them to shed societal masks, to confront their fears, and to sculpt their destiny with the chisel of authenticity. In this philosophical exploration, existentialism bridges the gap between ancient wisdom and modern dilemmas. Through Sartre's lens, the challenges faced by young men are not just personal or societal, but deeply existential. The journey to adulthood, then, is not just about societal milestones. It's about embracing one's freedom, facing life's inherent absurdities, and seeking a path illuminated by authenticity. Media is undeniably one of the most potent architects of cultural zeitgeist. Films, TV shows, and broader pop culture narratives seep into the collective consciousness, subtly sculpting perceptions and expectations. Within this vast tapestry of tales lies a dual narrative. On one hand, the archetypical hero's journey, a voyage of challenges, growth, and eventual triumph. On the other, an emerging narrative of perpetual adolescence where the tribulations of growth are swapped for the allure of eternal youth. Let's delve into this dichotomy, exploring how media's portrayal of manhood can either invigorate aspirations or entrench escapist tendencies. The hero's journey, as outlined by Joseph Campbell, can be discerned in countless cinematic epics and literary classics. Whether it's Luke Skywalker traversing galaxies or Frodo Baggins journeying through Middle-earth, these characters exemplify the paradigmatic path from innocence through trials to triumphant self-realization. Their narratives are defined by a transformation and arc that resonates deeply with our inherent yearning for growth and purpose. Yet side by side with these illustrious arcs, contemporary media has birthed a contrasting breed of male protagonists, not the heroes who confront dragons, but the eternal adolescents trapped in a temporal stasis. Shows like The Big Bang Theory or movies like The 40-Year-Old Virgin present protagonists who, while endearing, are often mired in perpetual boyhood. Their challenges are not monstrous dragons, but mundane dilemmas. Their victories lie not in transformative growth, but in small, often comedic evolutions. The pendulum, it seems, has swung from active heroes facing external adversities to more passive observers navigating internal quandaries. This rise of the endless adolescent trope is not without allure. There's a comforting charm in watching characters navigate a world devoid of dire stakes, a world where every mistake is redeemable and every day promises the glee of boyhood. Yet therein lies the seduction of escapism. If tales of heroic feats inspire aspirations, stories of prolonged adolescence offer a cushion against the thorns of reality. For many young men, this portrayal can act as a soothing balm, legitimizing the delay in confronting life's complexities. The whimsical adventures of on-screen Peter Pans can subtly lower the bar for real-world ambitions. Furthermore, media's amplification of escapism isn't merely limited to narratives. The very fabric of modern entertainment, with its sprawling video game universes, binge-worthy series, and virtual realities, beckons one to retreat from the tangible world. When virtual victories, be it in conquering game levels or in curating perfect digital personas, offer immediate gratification, the slow, often arduous grind of real-world accomplishments can seem less appealing. However, it's crucial to discern that media isn't a monolithic entity imposing narratives. It's a mirror reflecting society's evolving values, fears, and aspirations. The portrayal of perpetual adolescence, while potentially stifling, can also be viewed as a commentary on modern society's complexity. It speaks to the myriad challenges of contemporary adulthood, from economic struggles to existential quandaries. The passive observer trapped in adolescence is as much a product of societal shifts as he is of media's crafting. In navigating the maze of modern manhood, media emerges both as a guide and a gatekeeper. While tales of heroism can kindle the flames of ambition, narratives of eternal youth can either offer solace or sow stagnation. The onus then lies with the discerning viewer to draw inspiration from transformative tales and to view prolonged adolescence not as an ideal but as a poignant commentary on our times. In this dance of narratives, it's pivotal to remember that every story, no matter how escapist, carries within it kernels of truth, reflections of the world it arises from. A fundamental element in the tapestry of human growth is the presence of guiding lights, individuals who, by virtue of their wisdom, experiences, and character, illuminate the path for others. Whether it's in the realm of sports, the corridors of academia, or the complex maze of personal development, role models and mentors play a pivotal role in shaping trajectories, aspirations, and values. This becomes particularly pronounced when navigating the transition from boyhood to manhood, a journey fraught with questions, challenges, and uncertainties. History, in its vast annals, presents numerous figures who epitomize not just excellence in their domains, but also profound wisdom on the art of living. Consider Seneca, the Stoic philosopher and statesman. While his political prowess was significant, it's his philosophical musings that have echoed through millennia. In his letters to Lucilius, Seneca delves into the very essence of manhood, emphasizing virtues like resilience, temperance, and clarity of purpose. He wrote, "Life is very short and anxious for those who forget the past, neglect the present, and fear the future." Here, Seneca isn't merely presenting a philosophical aphorism. He's delineating a roadmap for young men, urging them to embrace the present with vigor and purpose, unburdened by past regrets or future anxieties. In the same vein, Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, penned his Meditations, a personal journal that crystallizes the essence of Stoic philosophy. Beyond his imperial duties, Marcus was a mentor in the written word, guiding countless readers through life's tempests. He emphasized virtues like humility, acceptance, and duty, writing, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one." In this simple directive, young men find a clarion call to action, an urging to embody virtues rather than merely extolling them. The wisdom of such historical figures is not just a testament to their personal brilliance, but a reflection of a society that revered the importance of mentorship. In ancient times, philosophers were not remote ivory tower intellectuals. They were integral parts of communities, guiding young individuals, shaping civic virtues, and molding future leaders. The tradition of mentorship was enshrined in the very fabric of societies, be it through formal apprenticeships or informal guidance. Fast forward to the present, and the canvas looks somewhat different. The modern age, with its dazzling technological marvels and rapid social shifts, offers young men a plethora of information, but often lacks the wisdom that comes from personal sustained mentorship. The cacophony of online voices can sometimes drown the nuanced, patient guidance that mentors traditionally provided. The surge of fleeting influencers might overshadow the timeless wisdom of genuine role models. Yet amidst this flux, the yearning for authentic guidance remains as potent as ever. There's an emerging realization of the paramount importance of strong mentors in today's fragmented society. Community leaders, educators, coaches, and even virtual mentors through online platforms are becoming pivotal anchors for the younger generation. These mentors provide more than just advice. They offer lived experiences, lessons distilled from failures, and a compassionate understanding of the unique challenges today's youth face. They serve as bridges connecting young men with the timeless virtues of the past while equipping them to navigate the uncertainties of the present. The role of mentors and role models, whether from the pages of history or from contemporary society, cannot be overstated. They are the lighthouses guiding young men through the foggy waters of adolescence into the vast ocean of adulthood. In their wisdom, patience, and experiences, young men find not just answers, but also the right questions. Not just direction, but also purpose. As society evolves, rekindling the tradition of mentorship, adapting it to modern realities, and prioritizing authentic guidance will be pivotal in shaping the men of tomorrow. Transitioning from the tender phase of boyhood into the challenging terrain of adulthood is not a journey undertaken in isolation. It requires a supportive ecosystem wherein the individual is constantly provided with tools, guidance, and markers that denote progress. In observing the phenomena of young men's delayed entry into adulthood, it becomes imperative to discuss actionable solutions that can guide them towards maturity. These solutions are woven into the very fabric of human society, rooted in traditions, but they need to be revitalized and reshaped to cater to the unique demands of contemporary times. Community as the crucible of growth. The proverb, "It takes a village to raise a child," is not just a poetic sentiment, but a profound truth. Historically, communities acted as safety nets, ensuring that their young were nurtured, educated, and integrated into the societal fold. Within the community structure, young men had access to a spectrum of role models, from the wise elder dispensing life lessons to the skilled artisan teaching a trade. They were surrounded by a milieu that constantly reinforced societal values, norms, and expectations. Today, the notion of community has evolved. With urbanization and technological advancements, there's a risk of atomization, where individuals feel isolated despite being hyperconnected digitally. To guide young men towards adulthood, there's a pressing need to reforge these community bonds. This could manifest in mentorship programs, local community initiatives, or group activities that foster teamwork, leadership, and a sense of belonging. By immersing young men in environments where they can observe, interact, and learn from varied individuals, we lay the groundwork for their holistic development. Structured challenges as catalysts. A consistent theme across cultures and epochs has been the idea of challenging the young as a rite of passage into adulthood. Whether it's the Spartan agoge where young boys were trained rigorously to become warriors, or the vision quests of Native American traditions, structured challenges have been instrumental in signaling the transition from boyhood to manhood. In the modern context, the nature of these challenges needs redefinition. Instead of physical trials, the emphasis can be on intellectual, emotional, and moral challenges. Structured programs that push young men out of their comfort zones, be it through wilderness expeditions, volunteer work in unfamiliar territories, or intellectual debates, can act as crucibles for growth. Facing and overcoming these challenges not only builds resilience, but also instills a sense of accomplishment and self-worth, vital ingredients in the recipe for adulthood. Rites of passage. Human societies have always marked significant life transitions with ceremonies. These rites of passage are not mere cultural rituals, they psychologically and socially cement the transition from one phase of life to another. For young men, these rites can be instrumental in recognizing and celebrating their journey into adulthood. Contemporary society can innovate by creating new rites of passage. This might include ceremonies celebrating milestones like graduating, starting a first job, or even successfully undertaking a community project. By ceremonially recognizing these achievements, young men are provided with clear markers of their journey, reinforcing their progression and maturity. Philosophy as a compass. Philosophers, with their introspective depth, have often provided answers to pressing existential questions, laying down principles that transcend time and place. For young men grappling with the challenges of transitioning into adulthood in a rapidly changing world, philosophy offers not just solace, but actionable wisdom. This wisdom revolves around three pivotal tenets: embracing responsibility, seeking personal meaning, and living authentically. One of the fundamental shifts from boyhood to manhood is the recognition and acceptance of personal responsibility. Philosophers from the Stoics of ancient Rome to existentialists like Jean-Paul Sartre have emphasized the centrality of responsibility in shaping one's destiny. Stoicism, with its emphasis on virtue and self-control, teaches young men to differentiate between things within their control and those outside it. As Epictetus proclaimed, men are disturbed not by things, but by the views which they take of them. By focusing on their sphere of influence and taking ownership of their actions and reactions, young men can cultivate a sense of agency, grounding their adulthood in self-reliance and purpose. Sartre, with his existentialist lens, went a step further, suggesting that humans are condemned to be free. This freedom, boundless and intimidating, carries the weight of absolute responsibility. For young men, this implies recognizing that their choices shape their essence, that they are architects of their fate. Such a realization can be overwhelming, but once embraced, it acts as a compass, directing them towards intentional, purpose-driven lives. Seeking personal meaning in a world brimming with information opportunities and distractions can feel like navigating a labyrinth. Philosophers, however, provide a torchlight. Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor, and the mind behind logotherapy, posited that the primary human drive is not pleasure, as Freud suggested, but the pursuit of meaning. Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning is more than a book. It's a testament to the indomitable human spirit. For young men, it offers a profound lesson that meaning is not passively received, but actively created. Whether it's through work, relationships, challenges, or creative endeavors, young men must forge their path, aligning their actions with their intrinsic values and aspirations. Such a quest for meaning provides direction, turning the uncertainty of youth into the clarity of adulthood. Living authentically. The philosophical idea of authenticity particularly championed by existentialists, revolves around living in alignment with one's true self, unswayed by external pressures or societal facades. Authenticity is the antidote to the bad faith that Sartre discussed, the act of self-deception where individuals deny their freedom and responsibility. For young men, living authentically implies shedding societal masks, questioning inherited beliefs, and forging a path resonant with their core being. It means confronting the anxieties of freedom, the weight of responsibility, and the challenges of individuality, but emerging with a life that is genuinely theirs. It's an invitation to be active participants in their narrative, not passive observers. Guiding young men towards adulthood, while complex, can find a structured pathway in philosophy. By embracing responsibility, young men lay the foundations of a purposeful life. By seeking personal meaning, they align this life with their aspirations. And by living authentically, they ensure that this life, in all its challenges and triumphs, remains true to its essence. As they embark on this philosophical journey, young men discover not just the intricacies of adulthood, but the profound joy of a life well lived. Our exploration has spanned vast terrains both in terms of history and intellect. From the practicalities of changing socio-economic landscapes to the depths of existential philosophy, we've delved into the complexities of young men's delayed entry into adulthood, weaving together threads from various disciplines to understand this phenomenon and, more importantly, to find ways to address it. The timeless voyage from boyhood to manhood is as old as humanity itself. Every era has its unique struggles, but the essence of the journey remains unchanged. It's a pilgrimage of self-discovery, responsibility, and personal growth. The ancient Greeks, with their rigorous physical and intellectual training, recognized the importance of rites of passage. Philosophers from Sartre to Frankl implored us to seek meaning and authenticity. Our modern age, with its myriad distractions, has only amplified the need for guidance, reflection, and mentorship. Yet, it's not just the youth who can glean insights from our discussion. Regardless of age, each of us is perpetually on the cusp of another adulthood. Life's phases don't end. They evolve. As we grow older, face challenges, and embrace new responsibilities and navigate changes, there's always another layer of maturity to attain, another depth of understanding to explore. Every viewer, every individual has their unique story marked by successes, failures, joy, and challenges. And it's in the retrospection of this personal narrative that real growth emerges. While the challenges faced by today's young men might seem daunting, history and human resilience provide ample evidence of our capacity to adapt, learn, and thrive. With the wisdom of yesteryears as our anchor and the insights of the present as our compass, we are equipped to guide the next generation and ourselves through the intricate dance of growing up. Every generation, with its distinct challenges, also births innovators, thinkers, leaders, and heroes who, armed with the legacy of the past and the vigor of the present, chart out new horizons. In the symphony of life, growing up is but one movement, beautiful in its melodies and poignant in its crescendos. It's a movement that demands attention, introspection, and action. As we draw this exploration to a close, let it be a beginning for all our viewers, a beginning of reflection, understanding, and a renewed journey towards maturity. Let's remember that every sunset is a horizon to a new dawn, every challenge an invitation to growth, and every generation, though seemingly astray, eventually finds its way moving forward with grace, wisdom, and enduring maturity.